The Americanization of the 2026 World Cup. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive, explosive leak that suggests the most sacred tournament on Earth is getting the full-blown Super Bowl treatment. Let's get right into it and see how the 2026 World Cup might literally rewrite the playbook of global sports forever. FIFA closing ceremony plans leaked. So picture this. It's July 19th, 2026, at MetLife Stadium. The final whistle is just blown, right? But nobody is heading for the exits. This whole crazy story actually kicked off with a single, now deleted 7-second TikTok from a production crew member inside the stadium. Literally just 7 seconds of footage. It showed rigging, dancers in rehearsal gear with FIFA finale printed on their backs, and some muffled chatter over the comms lines. But that tiny little leak? It completely threatens to shatter 94 years of World Cup tradition. It strongly suggests FIFA is cooking up a spectacle unlike anything the sport has ever seen. 82,500. With 82,500 screaming fans packed into that stadium, you traditionally expect the usual, right? National anthems, some handshakes, a quiet trophy lift, maybe a little confetti if you're lucky. But when pressed about these rumors, FIFA president Gianni Infantino didn't even try to deny them. Instead, he teased that they're, quote, building something for the world. It really looks like they are swapping that traditional minimalist approach for pure Vegas-style spectacle. We're talking lights cutting out, fire erupting, and a massive screen dropping straight from the roof. $40 million. Okay, here is the real kicker. Sources indicate the leaked budget for the MetLife closing ceremony alone is north of $40 million. Just to put that insane number into perspective, that is actually more than most countries spend just to qualify for the tournament in the first place. It's wild. It completely proves FIFA is going all in on that loud, viral American playbook. In fact, a leaked creative brief allegedly asked to make the whole thing feel like the Olympics closing ceremony, the Super Bowl halftime show, and a Coachella headline set all had a baby together. The leaked lineup. Pink for aerial acrobatics, Madonna as the bridge to pop legacy, BTS for Gen Z and global crossover, and Shakira as the closer with 200 global dancers. When you look at this cast, it's honestly a masterclass in demographic targeting. They're practically guaranteeing Monday morning water cooler moments. You've got Pink, who's rumored to literally drop from the stadium roof. Then Madonna, the queen of pop herself, linking us back to pop culture legacy. Then boom, BTS enters the chat, bringing their massive Gen Z fanbase and 89 million Instagram followers. And to wrap the whole shebang up, Shakira, the undisputed queen of World Cup anthems, backed by 200 dancers representing all 48 qualified nations. It is a seamless blend designed to capture a truly global, multi-generational audience. The halftime show shock. But hold on, because the absolute wildest part of this leak isn't actually the closing ceremony. No, it is the unprecedented, mind-boggling plan to literally stop the biggest match on Earth for a halftime show right in the middle of the final. For 94 years, halftime has basically meant 15 minutes to catch your breath, tweak some tactics in the locker room, and maybe walk around the pitch. Now, at the 45-minute mark, the game stops and the field magically transforms into a massive stage for a 12-minute halftime spectacle. Chris Martin's curated spectacle. Minutes 1 to 3, a global drumline featuring 48 drummers. Minutes 4 to 7, a holographic montage of historic World Cup goals. Minutes 8 to 12, a live piano medley with rumored surprise guests. This timeline perfectly highlights just how massive this disruption really is. Chris Martin of Coldplay, the guy who curated that incredibly praised 2016 Super Bowl halftime show, has reportedly been crafting this tight, ambitious 12-minute window for over a year. You start with this booming global drumline, move into high-tech holograms of iconic goals dating all the way back to 1930, and finish with a piano medley featuring rumored heavy hitters like Rihanna or Bad Bunny. It's a highly calculated attempt to turn a soccer pitch into both a church and a nightclub, all in under 12 minutes. Football is not the NFL. Leave the game alone. That's from Gary Lineker, and as you can probably guess, the backlash from the soccer world was basically instantaneous. Traditionalists and former players are absolutely furious. To them, a sport deeply respected for its fluid, uninterrupted action is being subjected to total sacrilege. Former England striker Gary Lineker really hit the nail on the head for the purists with that quote. For millions of fans around the globe, soccer is practically a religion, and they firmly believe that cramming a pop concert into the middle of the most important 90 minutes of the year just completely ruins the sacred purity of the match. The World Cup belongs to everyone, not just the purists. That was FIFA's official response. It is a coldly calculated corporate statement that tells us everything we need to know about their massive shift in strategy. They are openly confirming that they aren't just catering to the diehard fans anymore. Why? Well, they know the purists are going to tune into the final no matter what, right? So instead, FIFA is actively targeting the casual viewer. They want the teenager who doesn't know what an offside rule is, or the family who is just tuning in for the massive spectacle. The billion-dollar math. So, what is actually driving this incredibly controversial decision to risk alienating your core fan base? Well, we have to look at the cold, hard data. FIFA isn't doing this just to poke the bear and upset traditional fans. They're doing it because the underlying economics of global sports broadcasting have completely, fundamentally changed. It really all boils down to the massive difference between traditional television and modern digital consumption. Check out this live versus viral viewership data. The 2022 World Cup final had 1.5 billion live viewers, but limited viral moments. Meanwhile, the 2024 Super Bowl had 123 million live US viewers, but a staggering 12 billion social media views in 48 hours. When you compare these numbers, it's wild. The World Cup absolutely crushes the Super Bowl when it comes to live TV, 150 billion people versus 123 million. Not even close. But look at the social media metrics. The Super Bowl generated 12 billion views on TikTok and Instagram in just 2 days, largely thanks to Usher's halftime show. The traditional World Cup format, it just doesn't produce those kinds of viral clips. And FIFA, they desperately want those 12 billion views. $7.5 billion. That is the massive projected value of the broadcast rights for the 2026 World Cup, because at the end of the day, viral clips pay the bills. Massive sponsors like Apple, Coca-Cola, and Adidas aren't just cutting checks for eyeballs on a TV screen anymore. They demand trending engagement. They want the cultural water cooler moments that literally dominate the internet for an entire week. A quiet, traditional trophy lift is great, but it just doesn't trend the way a surprise midfield performance by Shakira or BTS does. The culture clash. On the left, you have the traditional soccer model. Uninterrupted, authentic play, a quiet, respectful trophy lift, and the sport is the only focus. On the right, the American sports model. An entertainment-first experience, viral halftime shows, and the sport is just one chapter. This all builds up to a massive fundamental clash of cultures. On one hand, you've got the sacred, minimal tradition of global soccer, where timeouts and commercial breaks simply do not exist. But on the other hand, the American sports model treats the actual game as just one chapter in a much larger, entertainment-first extravaganza, designed specifically to capture casual audiences through huge viral spectacles. The American influence. In the 1930s, authentic, bare-bones tournaments began. In 1994, Oprah Winfrey opens the USA World Cup. And in 2026, the ultimate Super Bowl-ification. It's really important to remember that this actually isn't the first time America has changed the sport. Back in the 1930s, tournaments were totally bare bones. But when the U.S. hosted back in 1994, they completely introduced commercial spectacle. I mean, they had Oprah Winfrey open the whole tournament. European media called it totally vulgar at the time. But guess what? It became the most attended World Cup in history. And those records actually still stand today. 2026 is basically taking that highly successful playbook and pumping it full of steroids. The purists versus the future. We are honestly witnessing a total arms race here. It pits the religious, lifelong devotion of traditional global fans against a totally different future generation. Look at it this way. If you ask a lifelong fan in Buenos Aires, they'd probably call this the colonization of their sport by entertainment. But if you ask a 14-year-old in Mexico City or Lagos, they would probably tell you they'd way rather watch a 12-minute BTS concert than watch 12 minutes of guys just slowly walking down a tunnel. FIFA is making a massive bet here. They believe that by turning the World Cup into the biggest party on Earth, the next generation will show up for the concert and end up staying for the game. Will the players hate it? With all this talk about fans and big money sponsors, you really have to wonder how the actual players are going to react to this. Just imagine you're someone like Kylian Mbappé, right? You've just played the absolute most grueling match of your entire life. You're exhausted, maybe you're bleeding, but you've just won the World Cup. And then you're told you have to wait 12 minutes in the locker room for a pop concert to finish before you can finally walk out and lift your trophy. It's a pretty massive disruption to the ultimate moment of their entire careers. You'll get the trophy, and 2 billion people will watch you get it. That quote puts FIFA's unapologetic gamble into perfectly clear view. Their stance to the players is essentially this. Yes, you have to wait, but the delayed gratification caused by this massive spectacle is only going to amplify the emotion of the trophy lift.
By keeping the global audience totally hooked with massive pop stars, they're guaranteeing that an unprecedented, highly engaged audience is still tuned in for that final, authentic moment when the captain finally raises the silver.
Will you love it or miss it? As we wrap up this explainer, one thing is just abundantly clear from all these leaked plans: the sport has fundamentally changed forever. The traditional soul of the game is being handed an incredibly loud, Americanized megaphone to make absolutely sure it commands an audience for decades to come. So I pass the question to you. After seeing all the data and the leaked plans, where do you stand? Are you team keep it sacred, or are you team give me the show? Let me know.